4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, covering the news and events for the week ending Friday, November 15th, 2019. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. A Dothan family made a donation to Troy University Thursday afternoon that will support a new academic program and scholarships for that program. Carissa Justice has the story from Dothan.
Thanks to what is being called a substantial donation by the Heersink Family Foundation, Troy University is now able to offer health care opportunities to business students. The new health management program, which will consist of 4 business courses taught to healthcare managers and directors, will incorporate ideals from data analytics to marketing. Dr. Heersink, an ophthalmologist, chose to donate to this new program to simply give back.
We decided, because we're making priorities and what we do with our funds, that we're going to fund institutions and programs that we believe in, but not to better ourselves, to enrich ourselves, but to make it better for the community.
This donation not only allows students greater educational opportunities, but it also allows more scholarship opportunities.
We know that it's the scourge of American higher education, student debt, and this will allow many students from this immediate area to access graduate education and not have to borrow money to do it.
Students will not be the only people to benefit from this program, as citizens of the Wiregrass area will benefit as well.
Every citizen that has an interest in health care is going to be better served. If we have a system in place that allows doctors and administrators to talk so that they can integrate care, they're going to get better, more kind, compassionate results and care.
And Dr. Heersink says he hopes this program will leave a legacy of impact.
I'm hoping that in a few years from now, we'll have some students that have come through this program that come back to us and say, you know what, it was worth every hour.
Students can begin enrolling for this program in spring of 2020, and classes will begin in summer of 2020. In Dothan, Carissa Justice, TrojanVision News.
Troy University's Phoenix City campus was born out of a relationship with Fort Benning. And the relationship with the Army base was on display Thursday afternoon as a speaker from Benning spoke to students on the Troy campus. Cody Giles has the story.
Shoes shined and adorned in medals. That's how John Suggs came onto campus to share with students and faculty what he does daily and how we can use this information ourselves.
Troy has a agreement with WINSEC as two educational institutions working together to educate America's youth. So I'm up here sharing some of the things that I know with some of the students here. What I wanted to impress upon them is that they're the future. They're the future of the United States and the countries that they're coming from. I understand you guys have got a whole lot of foreign students here in Troy. And so I want to impress upon them that they're the future, and I hope that they're thinking about that future and how they can make the world a better place.
One way that Suggs thinks about the future is not just thinking about tomorrow, but pondering tomorrow's tomorrow.
Well, if you're thinking about what you do today and how it affects tomorrow, you're kind of already short. I mean, you've got to be thinking about where you want to be 20, 30, 40 years from now. And as a country, maybe 100 years from now. So you're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about tomorrow's tomorrow, way out there in the future.
This event was great, and I think Troy University students should take advantage when we have events like that, because I think they help you to open your perspectives on different topics that sometimes you're not going to learn in class.
I want to thank the guys who hosted me here. Troy University is awesome, and I look forward to some exciting times ahead academically with Troy University and WINSEC, and hope to see you soon.
Cody Giles, TrojanVision News.
The artist responsible for the Trojan warrior statue on the Bibb Graves Quad has a new exhibit on display in Troy's International Arts Center. There was a reception to formally open the exhibit and give a chance for visitors to meet the artist. Anna Wong has the story.
An exhibition of sculpture by Larry Strickland has opened on November 7 on Troy campus. Carrie Jackson introduced those works.
Larry goes out and he finds these materials, and then he uses them in a way that respects their natural forms, and he celebrates the materials and is able to respect how nature has carved them out for him.
Have you ever seen the materials of artworks that come from nature? The artist Larry Strickland's works are on display in Troy University.
Local people call it lightwood, and some people say lightwood, but and it's heart pine. It's a pine that's rich in the, actually it's the lifeblood of the tree, and it settles into these stumps. But it's a very dense wood, and I find it in South Alabama, Northwest Florida, and in this area. And very interesting wood, very dense. It doesn't float. When I find it, if it's in a creek, it's tumbling down a creek. And when I pick it up, it's like it's been sandblasted.
Strickland shares his experience about natural material and talk about the feeling of the reception.
The work I'm seeing, this has been some new pieces that I brought out. So the show has kind of given me an impetus to push and finish some of this work because they've been standing around for a while. Sometimes these pieces take 10 years to carve, and I'm in no rush. I just want to, when I finish it, it's finished, and when it's not, I keep working until it is.
This night, all the people enjoyed the food and the wonderful sculpture. Anna Wang, Troy TrojanVision News.
We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll take a look at Troy University's homecoming activities. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
The Trojan football team came up with a big win on homecoming weekend in the Vet against Georgia Southern. Seth Carpenter has the sights and sounds from the big game.
It was homecoming in the Vet on Saturday when the Trojans took on Georgia Southern. Troy would get the scoring started off first with an opening drive touchdown pass from Caleb Barker to Brett Clark to make the game 7-0. The Trojans would soon get the ball back, and DK Billingsley would get a 18-yard touchdown run to make the game 14-0. Georgia Southern would try to make the game close, but the first half would end on a Tyler Sumter field goal to give the Trojans a 27-14 lead. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, Georgia Southern would score again to make the score 27-21, but the Trojans would answer right back with a touchdown pass to Reggie Todd from 7 yards out to extend their lead 35-21. Then the game would be sealed for the Trojans on a long DK Billingsley 70-yard rushing touchdown, and the Trojans would win 49-28. Head coach Chip Lindsey talked about the team win.
Defense, I think, is the story of the night. Those guys, they continue to fight their butts off, and really tonight put it all together. And we talked all week about, putting it together, playing a complete game in all three phases, which I don't know that we've done that yet until tonight. So that was something we really emphasized. We talked about. I told them, hey, you're going to play your best tonight. And, it seems like that's the way it worked out.
And on a night where it was cold in the Vet, the offense was hot on the field, racking up over 600 yards of total offense. And head coach Chip Lindsey talked about the offense's performance after the game.
I think 600 yards anytime you get is really something special. I mean, for us, obviously the long runs there at the end helped us. DK had the long touchdown run, but this team we played in the box, they're really good. They're physical. They got two really good inside linebackers. Their D-line's very physical and active. So in our mind, we were trying to make it a space game early and be really aggressive, and I thought we executed the plan well.
And along with the offense doing good, the defense stepped up and shut down a good Georgia Southern option run game, holding them to 152 yards rushing on 49 attempts as a team. Starting linebacker Carlton Marshall talked about the game plan to stop their attack.
Just everybody be where they are, just 11 guys run to the ball. If we mess up, mistakes can be covered up with effort. So, we made a few mistakes tonight. Like I said, the one 63-yard run, I take full responsibility for that one. That was completely on me. So if you take that away from their rushing yards, I mean, they're just stymied. So I like what we did today.
Seth Carpenter, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
And before the game, homecoming activities kicked off with the annual homecoming parade Saturday morning. Daisy Lang has all the action from the downtown square.
At 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, downtown Troy is packed with people for 2019 Troy University Appreciation Homecoming Parade.
I thought it was a clean, well-organized parade. You know, it went together on time, which is very important. It started right at 10, and it was not any real blockage in the parade other than some units that wanted to, display their talents.
The annual homecoming parade has been a Trojan tradition and has been staged for years.
I can say very honestly, I've been to every one of those 65 parades that we've had because it's such an important part of our society. We're able to show our appreciation to the university for all the great things it's done for our community.
Parade is going on behind me. There are about 19 groups this year, each showing us their spirit and character.
We had a great time. Jack enjoyed it. Did you like the parade? Say yes.
Most organizations appear every year, but not always. Pike County Chamber of Commerce has made subtle changes to the band this year.
You don't see as many marching bands in this parade as we used to. It's mainly because they have other places they go and already made commitments to. But other than that, the parade is just outstanding.
We liked everything. We liked the bands, and all the floats were really better this year to us.
After the parade, folks head to tailgate party on campus, then get ready for the big football game against Georgia Southern. Daisy Lund, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And while there were plenty of people tailgating before kickoff of the homecoming game, a number of student organizations got an early start cooking up some tailgating favorites for a homecoming competition leading up to the big game. Stuart Bradley gives us a taste of what the groups had to offer.
As the Trojan basketball team prepared for their matchup against UAB, those who took the stairs up to the concourse witnessed a vast wonderland of tasty treats and tender meats. As part of homecoming week, Troy fraternities and sororities participated in the Trojan tailgate cook-off in Trojan Arena Thursday night. Each sorority had to present a homemade baked good, while each fraternity presented something from the grill.
So we made Conecuh sliders. This is really just to pay homage to really traditional sporting event snack, just a hot dog. We made it bite-sized using Conecuh sausage, which is the official sausage of the university.
Tonight we made cupcakes. We did 3 different flavors. We did red velvet for Troy, since it's Troy colors, a strawberry one for Phi Mu, since pink is our color, and then a funfetti one with a basketball on top for the basketball team.
Everyone's item had to be prepared before the event, and for some, a lot of time and effort was put into the finished product.
The execution has taken about 4 hours or so today. We really were slaving hard to make sure that everything was just right so we could get this competition entry done and make sure it was solid for the judges.
Once everybody had their food displayed, a panel of judges walked around to each table, sampling everyone's creations. Once the judges made their rounds, the floodgates were opened for all Troy students to enjoy some free food.
I think the reaction was good. We're pleased with it. They've communicated to us that feels very traditional, feels very classic, and I think that's kind of what we were going for.
I like to think they liked them. Hopefully, their eyes got a little big when they were trying them, and so I feel like that's a sign of, ooh, that's good.
My favorite grilled item was probably the ribs that Farmhouse Fraternity presented. I would have to say my favorite baked good item were the Cardinal Bites, which were mini red velvet cakes that Katie made and presented tonight.
As you can see, whether it's a baked good or something pulled straight off the grill, Troy's Greek organizations are offering something delicious for everyone. Reporting on a full stomach, Stuart Bradley, Troy, TrojanVision News.
While tailgate staples were featured at that last homecoming event, international cuisine was on the menu for a food-related activity in the dining hall. Allison, Polk gives us a look.
Eating is one of the most common ways to bring people together. Whether it's grabbing lunch with a friend or simply having a nice meal, food is an easy way for people to gather. On Thursday afternoon, the Homecoming Committee hosted an international food fair to showcase all the different cultures Troy University has to offer.
And this week we're having various events on campus to kind of bring together all the Trojans on campus and all the diversity. And today we're doing an international food fair in the dining hall, just to kind of highlight all the different people on campus and the diversity to bring us all together, because that's what makes us Trojans.
And while the dining hall has a variety of different cuisines every day, students were glad they got to try and experience foods from different cultures.
So I got to try some rice pudding, which was really good. I tried some food that was they said was from Italy, and then some food that was from India. So it was really cool to be exposed to all those foods and get to try them. They were all pretty good.
The International Food Fair was a way for students to get to know all the different cultures represented on campus, as well as get to know the international students.
One big thing that Troy really likes to stress is that we do have a lot of international students, and we want to get to know them and learn about their culture. So this is a really good way to just expose us to their culture and find out more about them and just get to know them on a different level, and I think that's really cool.
I think it's important to kind of highlight all the different people on campus, the different ethnicities, and food is a great way to do it because everyone loves food.
The Homecoming Committee has more events planned for the rest of the week. To stay up to date with all the events, you can follow them at Troy U Homecoming on Instagram. Allison, Polk, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll get an inside look at Troy University's Center for Student Success. That's coming up after this, so stay tuned.
At Troy University, we offer military students more than just flexibility and convenience. We offer top-ranked programs that are an investment in your future. And like the military, you'll be part of something. A powerful network of more than 158,000 alumni worldwide. And we will be with you all the way. Proudly serving our military since 1950. Trojan Warriors, one and all.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
The topic of free speech and the different interpretations of what exactly free speech can be was up for discussion between Troy students and a visiting professor Tuesday afternoon. Khaleesi Bai has the story.
On Tuesday, Troy University students and Dr. Daniel Jacobson had a meaningful discussion of free inquiry.
I was describing John Stuart Mill's conception of freedom of speech, which is a little bit broader and a little bit narrower than American law, than the First Amendment has it. Mill held that all opinions, no matter whether they're false, immoral, or even harmful, ought to be permitted to be expressed.
This discussion made students know why free inquiry is important to us and strengthened some of their views.
People can understand what can be said for their view. They can defend their view against the best sorts of arguments against it. So freedom of inquiry helps people even when it involves uncomfortable discussions that they have to engage in.
This discussion also provides a great opportunity for students to express their perspectives and discuss with professors.
I enjoyed myself. I learned a lot. It's just nice to be around people that's open-minded and, just expressing themselves and without they don't think about judgment or anything like that. So it's always nice to hear people's opinions. I always believe that it's always another side to every story. It's always another perspective. So it really just gave me more support in my reasoning to why I thought that it was a good idea in the first place. So it didn't give me any new things, but it did help me support what I already had.
Khaleesi Bai, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University has a one-stop shop for students looking for assistance with their classwork. The John M. Schmidt Center for Student Success is located in Eldridge Hall and can help students with writing, math, and registration. Michaela Cameron gives us a look.
The John W. Schmidt Center for Student Success is a comprehensive program that focuses on students needing academic support services during their time at Troy.
There's no such thing as a unilateral success. Nobody succeeds on their own. We're all drinking from a well that we didn't dig. And we're we're successful because we have a collection of people around us who help us. All along the way, that's been true. So what the center does is it connects us to people who can help us succeed, and to try to do it without the help doesn't make any sense.
The John W. Smith Center provides programs and services that can help enhance students' academic achievement, personal and social growth, civic engagement, and career development.
In a given year, any given year, we can document 55,000 student visits to the center on a campus that has about 8,000 students. So they're coming, and they're coming more than once, and they're coming for all the things we do here, right?
With Eldridge being the Center for Student Success, faculty and staff believe that it's imperative that students use the resources that are located here. Fulmer doesn't want students to view visiting the center as a punishment, but as a way for students to better develop themselves with the resources the center offers.
It's not the center for students with problems. That seems to be, sometimes we think I'm being punished, I have to go to Eldridge. So if you think about it, all of our freshmen beginning this fall are advised in the center. If you're a student who came in conditionally admitted, or if you're a student who's still completing developmental coursework, or if you're an undeclared, not quite sure what you want to major in, all that's happening over here, and we're advising you. Our Learning Center, which is math and science and English tutoring, is over here. Our Computer Works is here, which provides technology. Our Americans with Disabilities Act, our ADA program. Our TRIO program, which is Student Support Services in McNair.
The John W. Smith Center for Student Success is located in Eldridge Hall. Michaela Cameron, Troy, TrojanVision News.
It's time for our last break, but when we return, we'll learn about a CD of jazz music coming out soon from a Troy University music professor. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
You might start on a Troy campus or at your kitchen table. Wherever you start, you'll be more than a student. You'll be part of the Troy family, armed with the education, values, and skills you need to succeed. Ready to lead today's global workforce. No challenge will feel impossible. No dream will be out of reach, because we will be with you all the way. Trojan Warriors, one and all.
A Troy University music professor has an album of jazz music coming out later this year. We'll learn more about the recording in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. With me today is Dave Camwell, Diane Orlowski, and Mark Walker, all here to talk about what we've got here in between us, a CD coming out by Dave here. Tell us a little about, before we get into why all of you are here, tell us about this CD and what we're talking about today.
Well, thank you for having us. And this is my new CD, Second Wind, that's coming out in December. And it features, why we're all here, it features some of Troy's finest musical ensembles that are on the CD. And so a couple of the tracks are with Dr. Orlowski's vocal group. And then we have a concerto as well that was with Dr. Walker's symphony band.
And let's talk about the CD here, recording process. Tell us about what folks can expect out of this CD, and then we'll bring Diane and Mark in and talk about their parts of the collaboration and how this all came about.
Well, I should say it came about largely funded by 2 grants, actually 3 grants from Troy University, which I'm very grateful for. But it was about an 18-month project, and really was recorded not just in Troy, but also parts of North Carolina, as well as Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So it's a wide-ranging geography of where the CD really came to be, and it's everything from works of Bach and Handel and Vivaldi from sort of all the way back when to some very modern works that were written within the last couple of years, including one written just for me. And so it's a real sort of timescape from from the Baroque era to the present day. And so there's a lot of different sort of musical styles.
And let's talk about a little bit the collaboration here. We'll start out here with Mark and the symphony band. First off, Mark, just talk about the opportunity to have that, because the band's recorded in and a lot of you've had recordings over the years, but being a part of something like this and working with one of the instructors here at the university, just talk about this opportunity.
Well, this came about when Dave came to work here a couple of years ago. We had talked about collaborating on some various projects, and he happened to have this this piece that included solo flute as well. So it's a concerto for flute, alto saxophone, and wind ensemble. And at the time, we had been invited to perform at the Southern Division of the College Band Directors National Association, which was a really prestigious opportunity for us. And so we decided to include that on the program and also perform a movement of that at our High School Seuss Festival in February. And it was terrific. I mean, it was a really complicated piece, very, very complex. Great fun to perform and great fun to listen to. And it was just a really neat opportunity to be able to collaborate with two soloists and in a concerto setting. And I thought it came out beautifully. You know, the performance down in Tampa, Florida at the conference was very, very good. And then we also had a recording session where we kind of cleaned it up a little bit and put some things back together with it, and I'm very happy with the results.
And had some experience before you went to the recording session of playing this piece and familiarity with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we spent I don't know, maybe 2.5 months with the piece. You know?
And several performances and lots of rehearsals, and
and it was really a lot of fun.
And let's talk about Diane now. This obviously you're talking about two musical groups, but this was with the concert chorale. So you're talking about a singing group and performing with them. So Diane, talk about working with that, because you've dealt with some jazz before and singing with jazz ensembles. But talk about this kind of collaboration.
Well, this piece was really cool, and I had found it when I was researching songs about grace, because that was the theme of the concert, and I had put it away because it was kind of out there. It was with an improvised sax over top of the choir, and the choir was what we call wordless, and it was complex, and it was just a difficult piece, and I just didn't know what I felt about it. I gave it to Dave, and he went, "Oh yeah," and I said, "I don't know if we could do this." This was actually captured on the CD live at a concert that we had done, and so which was really cool. No time that we ever did it with him was it ever the same.
Oh, of course, with jazz, the improvisational aspect of it. And how was that, having different takes on it every single time?
Well, I think it was cool because you had 36 singers having to figure out what he was doing and then respond in real time to that together, which was real technically challenging, but you had to make it sound like it was free. And it's called Breath of Grace, basically, and so it had to sound that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute thrill for me, and I mean, as an improviser, obviously you want to be doing something different and authentic and interesting to yourself.
And the reviewers seem to be responding to the spontaneity of it and the beauty of it in some of their comments, so that's nice.
Yeah, it was just, I feel like it was like catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, really.
Sometimes it really works out great, and other times you're like, well, I was okay with this, and that. This performance that we had, I think. It was a great performance. Yeah, we captured it, and I'm just so thankful that that we recorded it and through the post-production elements really made it beautiful, and it's a great addition to the
Well, it sounds interesting, and if anybody wants to hear this for themselves, when are they going to be able to get their hands on this?
Well, so the official release is December 13th, and there are some trailers through both my website and as well as Parma, which is the record company. So the simplest thing, all things basically go to my website, davecamwell.com, and there's lots of information about that. And certainly once December 13th happens, there'll be even more for people to check out. And of course, it'll be on all the streaming platforms as well. If you want a CD, I certainly have that too.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us here today and talking about this CD. Looking forward to hearing some of the music myself. So thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's the week that was. To find out what's happening on a daily basis, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or follow us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see online content from Troy TrojanVision News. Until next time, have a good week.